all art is eventually done for yourself. It's really selfishness, really. If someone finds something in it, that's brilliant. If they don't, I'm quite happy it hanging on my wall. My name's Daniel Cooke, and I'm a painter. I work in the traditional media of oils and charcoal mostly. I was raised in a tiny hamlet on a farm in quite a remote part of Wiltshire. I was quite a solitary child, I suppose. The books I could read and the TV I could watch was rather limited because I had a very religious upbringing. I wasn't allowed to read science, for example. I do remember I got a birthday present from my grandfather which had a chapter on evolution, and he crossed it out and written Bible text down the side because clearly the world was created in 6 days. My mum used to go shopping and just drop me off at the library. That was my playground, really. Once I could read books, which I wanted to read, your horizons just explode, really. Art was one of those kind of solitary activities that you could do to amuse yourself. It wasn't really till I got older and found different types of art which I realised what it could mean or how it could rip away, the veneer of things. When you start a new piece of work, everything seems relatively hopeless. You get halfway through and you think, is it the bin it and start again stage, or should I just try something else? You kind of persevere, and I think when you've finished, you get maybe half an hour or so of thinking, yeah, okay, I quite like that. But then you've got to repeat the process all over again. I don't think there's no long-term happiness of being an artist. It's always trying to find something. There's quite an anti-theist element running through some of my work which probably isn't appreciated. If you're raised on a diet of original sin and hellfire and eternal torment, I think you probably gravitate towards something relatively dark if you're rather introspective by nature. I was raised on a farm, which is obviously a very male-oriented business, in a strict patriarchal religion. The masculinity I paint kind of reflects that background. That generation, my dad's generation and his father and all the way going back, life was relatively prescriptive. You knew exactly how your life was pretty much laid out for you. Now it's a time of redefinition, I think. There's far much more potential for you to be masculine and however you define that, but it also brings a myriad of problems. You're going to have to look at male suicide rates and homelessness and drug addiction. You can't help thinking they might come from a confusion of being less prescribed, a confusion from redefining your role and where you fit. My life, well, it's a lot more stable than it was. I was married for 15 years, I've got 2 boys. Now I live by myself, it feels more authentic. Happiness is always striving for something, even if you can never reach it. But I have 2 beautiful children. They make me happy. Every day is different. I mean, some days you feel more inspired than others. I think the important thing is to work, really. If you sit around and wait for inspiration, you might just be sitting around forever. If you work, then hopefully inspiration comes, and it often does. Some people might come home and watch Love Island. I prefer to sit here and work on something I find interesting. You have to have some sort of purpose to your life. I think art's certainly one of those. They actually say that to be happy you should try and find a goal which is impossible to achieve and spend the rest of your life trying to achieve it. I think art's probably one of those things. Always chasing something,